everybody to our town board meeting of November. Could you all stand for pledge and invocation? Nancy, could you please give the invocation?
Father God, we come before you tonight asking for your wisdom, knowledge, and discernment for those representing us to know your will for Princetown. We ask your peace and unity that only you can give. Thank you for working your will in our town. Bless those who represent us and their families. We pray, as your word says, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. We declare this for our town. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Sandy, could you please read the roll?
Councilmember Pavoldi. Councilmember Jackaruso. Councilmember Gray.
Here.
Councilmember Mora. Here. Supervisor Esposito.
Present. Also present is our attorney, Gerard Parisi. Councilmember Pavoldi is not here tonight. He is in Albany Medical Center. He's going to be there he's been up there for almost 2 weeks. He's had 2 major surgeries, had one today. If anybody would like to send him a card, I'm sure he would like to hear from any one of you. Okay. We'll call the Princetown Town Board meeting to order at 7:06. Privilege of the floor. At every scheduled town board meeting, the public shall have the right to address the town board during the portion of the meeting referred to as privilege of the floor. Members of the public should restrict their comments to items of town business. Although there is no official time constraint, speakers should be considerate of all others so that all interested members of the public have an opportunity to be heard. There shall be one portion of the meeting dedicated to privilege of the floor near the beginning of each meeting. All remarks, questions shall be addressed to the board. No person shall enter into discussion with the person having the floor. Council members may address any comments during the portion of the meeting referred to as council member comments. We'll open up privilege of the floor at 7:07.
Well, I guess we'll start. You remember me from last month. My name is Tom Nelson. I'm an adjacent property owner to the Pattersonville Solar Facility on State Route 160, the Brooks property. Early this month, I was contacted by Ben and said that you guys visited the site with your town engineer and your building inspector and came up with the fact that there were no problems. Citing the solar law 1-2019, it says there is to be a minimum 50-foot setback with a 25-foot undisturbed vegetative area around all solar arrays, mechanical equipment in the site. I'd like to know how they got into our property line if they're supposed to respect a 25-foot setback of undisturbed vegetation and also with a 50-foot setback. It gives no direction in there as to whether they can work within that 50-foot setback or not. Also, in the solar law, it says that if they disturb existing subsurface drainage in agricultural lands, they must fix it and return it to original working condition. And they cannot impound water and affect the drainage for the fields adjacent to the site. All of which is happening right now. Now, I don't know how you could visit out there with your town engineer and your building inspector and say there's no problems. I've been talking to you guys for probably better than 2 months now, and I've been getting a lot of misinformation and a lot of I don't knows. Ben was the only one that pointed me toward the solar law. It's obvious this project is over your head. I want to know what you're going to do about it. You got a room full of people here they're going to talk to, that are neighbors around there that are having the same problems I do.
Tom, you have my pictures.
We have pictures here, and I have the law with the highlighted areas, if you want to see it. That's all I have to say right now. You want to see it?
If you have an extra copy.
Yeah. That's the law, and I highlighted the areas.
The areas of concern.
The areas of concern. And these are the pictures that my wife took. The stake with the pink is the property line. The stake with the orange is their tree removal line. Our property is on this side. This is the stream bed that they disturbed, and then, I believe through a DEC consent, reestablished and pointed it right at our property. This is another stake from my property line looking towards theirs. There's the tree removal line, there's the property line. My wife also has some pictures,
I have videos.
videos of
The
where the
50
stream
foot.
bed was originally and where they moved it to.
I mean, whatever you have, I would suggest you get to us.
I can email it to somebody. I can't do it here because I need the password, but I have it all on email. I put the videos and the pictures are all on an email.
I mean, I'm sure the engineer, you're the first person to show this to, and you get a response, and you may have already talked to the engineer. I don't know what he said about his visit so far, but any information you have, get to us.
Okay, do you have an email?
I'm sorry?
I need your email.
Can't pass it, right?
No.
Here, I got one right here.
Well, it can be just.
We heard exactly what these are. That's why I wanted it in writing last time. So he knows exactly what to look at.
Also on top of that, the subsurface drainage they disturbed is impounding water on a field that I have crops planted in that I cannot harvest right now because it's too wet.
Join the club.
Yeah, well, it's even worse now.
I built 460 bales last year, built 150 this year.
Yeah.
Raw bales.
I usually bail about 10,000 and I only bailed about 5,000 this year.
I'm talking raw bales.
Oh, small square. But it's exasperated this year. Plugging off the drainage just made the
I'm
field small.
72 years old, I've never seen it like this in my life.
It is, this is a crazy year.
Couldn't even play in half the sweet corn we normally play.
If that's a sample, we could show him these specific things and see what his response is.
Can I speak? My name's Lawrence Spring. I live adjacent to the Princetown property, below it, down the hill. I live in Montgomery County, town of Florida, and since they have done the tree cutting and clear cutting up on top, they've increased the flow in the stream, as they call it. It comes down, it used to be an access road to the top of the mountain. They've increased the amount of water flow down there where it's flooded the lower part of my property. And in those laws, it basically states anything is not supposed to affect other people's property or the water flow. And my other question, is there any stipulation in this that your town put in to test our wells? I hear all the backfeed on this solar stuff, that property cannot be used for agriculture or anything for 10 years after the solar panels are taken off. Now that tells me there's contaminants coming off those panels through the years as they break down. And I'm directly down below that, like all these other people are here. You know, and if that's gonna run in my water, I'm not accessible to city water, to town water. You know, I live up out of town, we live up out of town enough. You know, what's gonna happen if my well is contaminated? I can't drill another well because of the contaminated water. Who's gonna buy my house? What's my house gonna be worth? That's probably my biggest concern. With these last couple of big rains and everything like that, my whole lower yard was flooded. I lived on a property for 60 years. That was my parents' property, and then I built a house, you know, on that property. And I've been around that 60 years, and I've never seen that property flood down below, or the amount of water that comes down off the hill now, because of the way they directed. The pictures that Tom showed you with the shot rock that directed the stream, you know, over towards Montgomery County, town of Florida, which my property is in, it's increased greatly. I never had a stream running down through next to my house every day. I was actually there with one of the engineers from the project today and everything. He took a video of the water flow and everything like that. I mean, the water is this deep going down through there where there was, it used to be a road and a little tiny ditch next to the road for runoff. So that's,
What's your address again?
it's 864 Pattersonville Road. I'm the first house, actually second house in the Montgomery County, town of Florida. Yes, sir.
I would also suggest, not that you're obligated to, but anything you can like write down what your concerns are so we can relay them to the engineer. In case my notes aren't the greatest, feel free to send them to me, because we're gonna provide it to the engineer to get you an answer. For your I know the engineer went out, but maybe he didn't have these specific, I don't know, we have to ask him.
If I might add, if he went up to the project on the top of the hill, he would not have seen what that water is doing as it comes down the hill. Because basically, this project was put together with no concern with anybody that borders any of that property. You know, there's a gentleman back here, he owns the farm below it with all kinds of animals and everything. You contaminate his water and everything, his livelihood is going away. Everything. So that's the biggest concern with me, anyways. Like I said, I've been there 60 years. I'm 74 years old. I'm even older than that guy in the corner.
We went to school together.
We went to school together. That's why
You're not older than
I can tell him that. But anyways, I've been there that long and everything, and I've never seen water come down through like that, where it flooded my property. You know, so, thank you.
Any others?
I guess I'll go next since Larry mentioned me as the neighbor downhill catching all the soil. This is me and my future-to-be, Nicole. We live at 497 Florida Road, which is directly below the new creek that
Is
they
that
made.
Roger Patterson's
Yes.
old?
Yes, sir, yep. So we've been there 3 years, you know. I'm probably the youngest one in the room here, and I've been on every square inch of my yard. I have 2 streams that are there now that were not there before. You know, I have nothing but awesome girls that board horses with me. We made a beautiful farm. Oh, you're all welcome to stop and see it after this. You know, and like Larry had said, we have a lot of great animals on our yard, and nobody took into consideration on how plumbing works. Pattersonville works like plumbing. Everything rolls downhill. You know where I live? At the bottom of the hill. So I just, you know, this project hopefully is nowhere near as complete. You know, I'm a union mason, been in construction since I was 16 years old. You know, that stream, like Tom said, you know, just stops in the middle of nowhere. You know, nothing in the world stops in the middle of nowhere. You know, you gotta continue somewhere. You're gonna have to go down between me and Larry's yard, continue that creek down, and make the water continue to go all the way and continue that creek the way it was. There's 2 spots in my backyard that were no bigger than a coffee can where the water was leaching in off of Brooks's field. Now, where Larry lives and Tom, that water comes down on the right side of my property. In the middle of my yard, they put up those paper barriers. So the whole hill runs downhill. So the water coming down the mountain is hitting that paper running this way, then hitting this paper running this way, hitting this paper running this way, you follow me? It goes right down like a labyrinth. So now, my coffee can that was in my hedgerow of rocks is now probably this deep and this wide with a gully, and I have a picture on my phone, I'll forward it to Terry, she can forward it to you, that is a, you know, it's swamping down and it's going into, now it's doubling tripling the amount of water going into my pond. Pond is right next to my house, foundation. So that concerns me, the amount of water that's coming down. We've only been here 3 years, but I'm not going anywhere, so I'd like to see something get rectified, you know, so that way me and the other neighbors can live a peaceful life, you know, without getting flooded out or, you know, having to uproot our families and all of our animals because, you know, a couple of yahoos made a few bucks and contaminated all of our wells. And I hope we all as farmers and nobodies with small pockets can be heard as much as the people with deep pockets. And that's pretty much all I have to say. That's about it. Thank you for your time.
All I can tell you is my father
Yes, sir.
drawed milk out of that place.
I'll tell you what, I'll believe you when I get a photograph, because everybody in this town tells me they've done something in my yard, and I've yet to see one photograph. So I'll believe you when I see it.
And he was my father too.
I hear so many great stories about my yard.
My sister,
We probably did.
I drilled the
love to
well. I drilled the well for Roger's new house.
Which is
54
your
foot
house.
deep, solid rock with a button drill. Took me 3 weeks to drill it.
God bless you.
This gentleman back here, he's the one that owns Roger's old new house.
I drilled that well.
Basically, you're looking at everybody on that road.
I think it's 54 foot deep. And it took me 3 weeks. I'd go there 3 hours a night and drill 1.5 foot with a button bit that cost me $700.
What was your address again?
497 Florida Road.
What is it?
497 Florida Road, yep.
I suggest that anybody's got some complaints about this, to write them down, send them to our town clerk or our attorney here, and she can forward them to our to our attorney, and we will address them.
And if the engineer would like to come out to the property, I would
Absolutely.
be glad to take him up there and show him where I have the issues.
If you email me the stuff, I'm gonna communicate to the engineer so they get your specific complaints, because I know they went out like a month ago, but I didn't look at it since.
Yeah, but if you don't come
Yeah,
over
well,
to
I'd
the
be
east
happy to
side
walk
of the
property.
west side of the
Yeah,
property,
I'll
you don't
see it.
see it.
Right.
When we get them your specific concerns, so we can address your specific concerns. I don't know, maybe you looked at these things already, maybe you didn't, we'll follow up though.
I walked that property when I was a kid.
All right, so we'll if you send them all over to our attorney, or if you
Yeah, I'll
want
get
to
'em.
address them to our town clerk, she can forward them to our attorney too. I know that our town engineer went out there, and I know that our building inspector went out there and met with them. They toured the property, and our town engineer said that there was no problem. I know he said that. He's communicated with me on different occasions about it, and I didn't get a chance to go out there that day. I wasn't feeling well that day, so the two of them went out. I was supposed to go with them, but I didn't. But I am going to set up another meeting with them, and I'm gonna go out there and meet with them myself, and whoever else wants to come with me, along with our town engineer and our building inspector again. So if you can address these, send those notices to our town clerk or to our town attorney, or you can send them to me and I'll forward them on to them, and we'll see where we go from there, if everything's being done properly, and if it's not, we're certainly going to look into that matter. Now, I'm just told that everything has been, they're following everything that they were supposed to be following. That's what our town engineer relayed to me. Now, I'm hearing something different, so we're certainly gonna address that. You know, our people in our town, we're a small town, you know, we have only, 2,500 people in this town, 2,700 people, something like that. And we certainly don't want our neighbors and the surrounding communities to be upset with this, so. And like I said before, I was not in favor of this at all. I never thought that solar was the way to go. We had it over here, I was a proponent of it until we got it in, and I see what's happening with it. I consider solar or farms, crops, dairy, vegetable, I don't consider this a solar farm, I consider
Solar
it solar
array.
factories. I wasn't in favor of this at all. We were forced upon this, the state is forcing this on us. We didn't want this. I know all the members of the town board were opposed to it at the time. The only way that we could do it is if we had a host agreement put in, because we don't have a town tax. So there's no pilots or anything like that for us, you know, not in lieu of taxes. So we came up with a pilot program. We were not in favor of this at all. The town board wasn't. We had to come up with some type of a law, which we crafted. We had an attorney from Buffalo who specializes in solar ordinances and laws, and it cost a lot of money to hire him to come up to do this. Our town attorney does not specialize in solar ordinances or laws. So we hired someone else that was well-versed in this, and that's all he does throughout the state of New York. These people, these companies that are coming in are getting paid by the state to put these things in. When this all comes to roost in 30 years, that's all you're gonna have is solar junkyards. That's all you're gonna have with these things. Even though we have an agreement that they're supposed to be dismantled and put back into farmland or wherever the land was before, who knows in 30 years? Am I gonna be around in 30 years? No, maybe Nicole will, but some of our younger people, that bad, but I'm certainly not gonna be here. And what's going on, I was not in favor. That's all I can say. I feel for you, but we were forced into this. This is nothing that we wanted. It wasn't the time doing this. This was absolutely forced on us by this. Everybody knows this. Fortunately, if it was under 20 megawatts, we did have a say in it, as far as the setbacks and what have you. And I thought we were following them to the law. But if it was over 20 megawatts, like the other ones that they're building around the state, we wouldn't even have a say about it.
Yeah, that's
It would
happening
just
in our
be-
town too.
It would just be, they come in and the state just takes it over. We wouldn't have anything to say about this. So I do feel for you, and, you know, we'll look into it, but I got a feeling that we're gonna be, it's not gonna go very far. I don't know why, but I just got that feeling. You got something else to
Yeah,
say?
like I said, we've only been here 3 years, so we didn't even know we were gonna have solar panels in our backyard until 2 years after owning the property. So now, I hear rumor, is the other solar farm up the road the same solar company?
I know.
I hear rumors.
No, we have one going in the town
This
of
is owned by
Florida.
Goldman Sachs. They sold out, these solar companies are getting sold out. The one we originally, that came in to do this,
Yeah.
that was sold, then it was sold again, now Goldman Sachs owns it.
Because I'm wondering what the difference is between those solar panels and those solar panels. Because those guys got their water tested and we didn't.
And this project has gotten nowhere near being completed. I was told it's not gonna be completed until next year, sometime late next year, only because they can't get the solar panels, they're made in China, apparently. And we all know what's going on supposedly with the supply chain, which I don't believe is real, but that's what they're claiming. So they can't get the solar panels, so the project is really slowed down to a crawl, from what I understand, so.
All the hardware is up there.
The hardware is up there, but the solar
But the
panels
solar
are
panels
not.
are not.
No, because they can't get the solar panels are manufactured in China, as is most of
Sitting
them.
out in the ocean, because you can't unload them.
Whether it is or they're not made or whatever's happening over here, but with the supply chain, which they blame on, well, I don't wanna get into that, but anyway, that's,
One other quick comment. How come none of the neighbors around there, nobody around there was ever notified that this was going on?
oh, they were, we had public hearings on
I wasn't,
We weren't.
it, no, but.
We weren't notified.
and I'm an adjacent landowner.
Joe, were you?
I mean, that's the whole thing, is something like this is not like small. They should have stopped by her house. I mean, definitely mine and Larry's. I mean, we're 500 feet from I mean, Can
You know.
Just put in the paper?
I can-
Public hearing on this, when we did this?
Yeah.
It was,
I could stand on my property and throw a bale of hay on where their paper is, where they're working, that's how close they are, and nobody ever stopped to see me and said, hey, just letting you know, might spook all your cattle and your horses, we got, excavators running around your backyard. I just saw them out there.
And we didn't know, we didn't even know they were gonna be in the property next to us. I mean, we knew they were going on Brooks's, but I didn't know they were going in the fields next to us till the trees were getting cut down.
Maybe Gerard can answer this. I thought in New York State zoning law, you're required to notify by postcard anyone within 500 feet.
That's what she's talking about, but it came before the planning board, she's saying that, I don't say that, she's saying they did, she's saying they did. I have to check.
2 Montgomery County
Well, I can
residents?
tell you,
Larry should have gotten
Nicole is our
the postcard,
planning,
Joe should have gotten the
she's on our planning board as a secretary. She just notified me that everybody within 500 feet was.
2 Montgomery County residents.
I can go back and I can check the.
That would be
500
appreciated,
I mean, unless
because-
it just covered Princetown for some reason, but, when I get the 500 footers,
It's right against his backyard.
yeah, it's
And he
always
never
right.
had-
Yeah, we're all within 500 feet.
Okay.
When the law
That was when that was going on.
The other thing I'd like to make a
Yeah,
comment on, if you're
yeah.
gonna have another site visit,
Could be they told them what they
is
wanted
it
to
beyond the
show.
realm of possibility?
One at a time.
From the
Hold it
neighbor.
down. Hold it down, one at a time.
Is it beyond the realm of possibility that either a representative or some of the neighbors are also present at this meeting?
It's not
Because it
beyond-
seems like things aren't,
Yeah, it's not beyond the realm of possibility, let me talk to the engineer.
Okay.
and see, 'cause, I was
we
gonna
might be
mention-
able to solve a lot of things,
I agree.
getting it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, and if, I was gonna say, you point us to the specific locations,
Right, we can take a sidewalk.
I know it's a pretty big property, maybe he didn't check the area you're talking about, I don't know.
No, I mean, if he went up and checked the project, he wouldn't see the issues that I'm talking about, he's talking about,
So that's,
Tom's talking about.
yeah, so if you could
If they
specify
went
the
to the
areas on
project, yes.
the project.
Yeah, your issue's right on next to the project, but mine is downhill, Joe's is downhill from there and everything, and nobody would come. I had a visit today from 2 of the engineers from the project, because I've gone to DEC, I've gone to the project manager, and he sent 2 engineers there today, and they had no idea what they were looking at the project from my side of it. His fields, we were up in his fields looking and everything, and they had no idea relativity of the water coming down. They thought the water was running perpendicular to where it is coming to my house. So there's a little bit of issues there.
Okay, like I said, if you want to write this down, send it to our attorney or send it to our town clerk and she'll forward it over to him. Or you can send it to me and I'll send it to our attorney. Do we have any others? Drew?
I'm Greer Pomeroy from the Environmental Committee. Just want to let you know what's happening with us. We brought our natural resources inventory to the July town board meeting. But at that point, we did not have the reviews back from our consultants at the county and the state DEC. And when they got their results back to us around in August, and it took us until now to get everything amalgamated. So I'm asking you folks to remove the July document that's in your folder and replace it with this November document. And then I'm going to give this November document in paper copies to the people on the planning board, the people on the zoning, the 2 zoning boards. And everybody has a chance to comment back to us on, anything that they have a problem with or, And we've started talking about having some people come in December of '22, so a year and a month from now, to give a talk about how people can get reimbursed from the government for environmental reasons. And we're also going to have Recycle Day in 2022, April 30th. So.
Thank you, Greg. What was the date?
April 30th, 2022, recycle day.
It's on a Saturday, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, any others?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. My name is Richard Daly, 1291 Clackamas Road. I'm not here with an issue or anything. I am here with compliments and completely unsolicited comments to all of the board, all right, for the wonderful job that we do, and congratulating them on a clean, fair election, right? I would like to add also a thank you to all the veterans in our town, as Thursday, November 11th is Veterans Day. I would like to recognize any vet here and any vet in the town, right? I have a very distinguished vet up there, Mr. Gray, and a very distinguished vet's mother, all right, Miss Bishop, all right. I would also like to add that, personally, on a personal note, Mr. Shane Bishop and Mr. Douglas Gray are very good friends of mine. They're very good neighbors. If ever I need anything, I call them up. Right? They take care of my most cherished possessions, my horses, and my other animals on the farm. Mr. Gray has been a great monitor for me, and he's always somebody I can call. He's a great asset to the town. Also, again, I would like to thank Ms. Bishop, for, the wonderful job that she did, as a sister and a mother to Mr. Gray and Shane. And in closing, I would like to once again thank all the vets, as I have the highest regards and respect for them. As a former first lieutenant in the United States Air Force, I salute you all veterans. Right? Thank you again, Town Board, for all your services that you do. You have a good, productive legislature session. Yes, we could use that term. And have a blessed evening. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Any others? Okay. We will close up privilege of the floor at 7:37.
Yeah, one second.
Okay. Department committee reports. Highway, Nick is not here tonight, our highway superintendent. He's informed me that he was up on Overlook Road. There was a neighbor complaining about a tree that was ready to fall over. He went up with, and looked it over with young Nick. They went up and cut up some wood, but that wasn't the tree, I guess, that they're talking about. He wants me to come up on Overlook Road to see if we can cut that tree down. We're planning on going up there at the end of this week. Other than that, he's got no other, hasn't had any other complaints. Everything else within the highway department is going along fine. I might add, as everyone knows, we do not have a highway department to speak of. Nick Senior uses his own equipment. We have no equipment. He uses his own equipment. He goes out when somebody's got a complaint about anything, he goes out and plows their driveways out. He does all of this with his own equipment. We're very fortunate to have Nick Senior as our highway superintendent. So, like I said, when you don't have highway equipment, and we only have one highway superintendent, no one works for him, I help him out as much as I can, and so do people on the town board, but he does a great job. I might add, he is 89 years old, and he's still doing this stuff. Water department, any questions on the? Let me see if I can find the Okay, water department, gallons pumped 1,805,800. Maximum daily usage 175,900. Minimum daily usage 26,600. We had 3 water main breaks this past week again, or within the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. As you all know, the water system is a disaster. We're gonna continue to have these problems. The Waynesburg Road one was repaired. We had one on the intersection of Gifford Church Road and Windy Hill Road, that was repaired. We also had the ones on Pangburn Road. They were repaired. The water tower on Ruder Drive continues to leak. Date for repair will be in the spring. A small leak in the booster pump station on Gifford Church Road has been identified, awaiting parts to make repairs. All residents are now in compliance and metered. All fire hydrants have been flushed, maintained, and are in working order. 2 water services are scheduled to be tapped and inspected this month. Winter preparation scheduled to include maintaining all equipment, repairing and staking valve boxes, and fueling generators. As I said, we're gonna continue having problems with this water system. It's a never-ending problem for a system that's only 20 years old. It wasn't installed properly, as we all know, and we're just gonna have to deal with it. Any questions on water report?
I was there, I see.
Ben? Okay. Code enforcement. Code enforcement, total permits 3, permits issued 3. Permit inspection fees collected $1,250, building inspections 12, zoning review 0, fire inspection 0, final building inspection 0, certificate of occupancy 0, bank deposit report $1,250, check to supervisor $4,000, checkbook balance as of November 9th, 2021, $192.24, activities and zoning 0, working on planning and zoning as needed, working on permit, final inspection as needed, reviewing plans as needed. Thomas Verini, building inspector. Discussion? Anything? Nicole? Ben? Okay. Let's see. Ben, you're up.
No dog problems, no complaints, no missing dogs. Just had complaints about bears for the last month. Between Dwaynesburg Road all the way up to Willow Run. I don't know if it's one or a couple bears, but they're out raiding people's feeders and berry patches, anything that they can get to store up before winter. I know, they're getting ready to hibernate. They're gonna hibernate with you. So that's it. It's been quiet. I haven't had any complaints.
Tell everybody to go hunting.
I know you weren't here for the rabies clinic, but they held that this past
Yeah, they had
Saturday.
that. It probably worked out good as well, Sandy.
Sandy was here, she stayed for the 3 hours.
They did the drive-through again, I'm guessing.
Drive-through,
Good.
she said about 110 dogs and cats were there.
Yeah, so we should keep it as a drive-through regardless of COVID. Works good.
No, it's dogs and cats and bears.
That was this past Saturday from 9 to 12. I guess it went very well. Thank you, Sandy, for staying for the 4 hours. Any questions for Ben?
How come I wasn't notified?
All right. Court, I don't have a report from him, but I do have a report for the assessor. Let's see, I didn't have a chance to read it, but it's from the assessor's office. The assessor's office is staffed by Isla on Tuesday and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The assessor is typically in the office on Wednesday morning, but is available by phone or email at any time. Our policy is to try to get back to any phone calls or text messages within 24 hours. The 2021 assessment roll has been finalized and was used by the school district to reduce the 2021-22 school budget tax bills that came out in September. The assessor's office is sending the final reports and totals to the county to be used in preparing for the 2022 tax bills. During the year, the assessor's office reviews all sales and new construction to update the assessed value for the parcel if warranted. Typically, we look at 35 to 44 parcels per year. At this time of the year, the assessor does field inspections of all new construction. After the final inspections, the assessment files are updated and the assessments for the 2022 assessment file are updated. Since COVID, there has been a significant increase in the residential real estate market in upstate New York. In the town of Princetown, we were seeing sales in the $350,000 to $500,000 range. The state does a yearly analysis of residential sales for municipalities in the state. For Princetown and Duanesburg, there was an 8% increase in residential sales in the last year. All the other municipalities in Schenectady County had increases of around 12%. Any questions on the assessor's report? Doug?
No.
Nicole? Ben? Okay. Buildings and grounds, that's mine over here. 2 weeks ago, it just came to my attention this past week, we had a truck come in, another tractor trailer come in. Came in the driveway, went back into the state police building, not into the building, into their lot, grabbed one of the rocks for the back axle of the trailer, dragged it out on the road. It didn't dislodge until around White's RV, if I'm not mistaken, and 3 cars hit
When
it.
he turned the corner on Pegburn Road.
3 cars hit the rock and were damaged. The driver never stopped, as usual. The driver never stopped, and we did check our video, and we saw the truck come in. Sandy was here with the state police along with myself, and we did see the truck that came into the driveway. We can't get a visual on the name on it. I'm thinking it was a Canadian truck from what I see on the side, the emblem. The state police took a video of it, took the video, and they're analyzing it. Thanks to the sheriff's department, they also have a video. It was turned over to the state police, and they're analyzing it. If they can find the driver or the company responsible, it's leaving the scene of an accident. I don't know what else we can do about stopping trucks from coming in here. I've done everything possible. We put up a fence, they ran over the gazebo, as you all know. We put up a fence to stop them from going around. We got cameras all the way around this building. We've got signs up that say under 24-hour video surveillance, no 4-ton, no trucks, dead end. I don't know what else we can do.
We don't care.
The quality of the drivers out there, I've been in this industry for 54 years as a driver and an owner of trucks, and I can't believe the things that I see. There is no quality of drivers, they're just looking to fill the seats, and there's a long list of things that are wrong with this industry. Too much to talk about now.
Police didn't hear that turning around.
What's that?
How come
They
the
were not,
state-
they're not in there at night. They're only in there, they're in and out of there. They got maybe 1 car or 2 cars in there at night, maybe, and they're always on the road. They got the call around 9:30 at night, and by the time they got up here, the driver was gone because they're out on the road. They could be in Pattersonville, they could be up in Schoharie, they could be,
There's nobody in that office all night?
no.
Well, I know the sheriff's office is on the weekends, right? You got nobody there on the weekends now,
We're
right?
in and out, Doug. But we wouldn't have heard that from our office.
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't have heard that from all of it.
They dragged that rock out, and like I said, he had to do damage to the truck. It had to do
My
with blow
next
a
door
tire or
neighbor's
whatever.
oil field went out of his 1-ton Ford pickup.
Well, there was 3 accidents, so that's a pretty serious thing over here. But, I'm thinking it was a Canadian truck, so, but hopefully they can find out who did it. And I know that when we saw damage over here, I've contacted the people, and I even had their names on it, the name of the truck. We never got any money out. They're out in Canada, the one that we had. Another one was in, I forgot, Tennessee or something, a trucking company, and you can't get money out of these people. They just don't bother with you. You know, what are we gonna do? What am I gonna do? Go to Canada and try to file a small claims court? It just doesn't happen. But that's the way it is. And hopefully they can find out who did it.
If I took my truck around, I'll bet you'd find me.
Anyway, other than that, I don't think we have anything else, buildings and grounds. So, any questions? Ben? Okay. Moving right along. Meeting minutes. Is hereby resolved that the meeting minutes of October 12, 2021 regular town board meetings are approved or as amended. Discussion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Jeff Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Laura?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Approval of the 2022 Town of Princetown budget. Whereas the 2022 preliminary budget of the Town of Princetown was filed with the town clerk on September 15, 2021, and whereas the town board of the Town of Princetown duly held a public hearing on 2022 preliminary budget, including the general fund, water fund, highway fund, Platterkill, Pattersonville, Pine Grove, and Duanesburg Fire District, along with the 2022 water and sewer assessment roll, approved by the town board and filed with the town clerk, and heard all persons desiring to be heard at the matter. And whereas the town board adopted the 2022 preliminary budget at the town board meeting on September 14, 2021. Now therefore be resolved that the 2022 preliminary budget as presented is hereby adopted and established as a 2022 final adopted budget for the town of Princetown for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2022. Be it further resolved that the 2022 final adopted budget shall be spread upon the minutes of this town board meeting in entirety, and the town clerk shall prepare and certify as provided by law duplicate copies of the said 2022 final adopted budget hereby adopted, and deliver one of such copies to the supervisor of the town and one copy to the county legislator of the county of Schenectady as required by law. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll make it.
Sandy?
Councilman Jeff Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Laura?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Okay. Resolution introducing proposed local law requesting that the Cannabis Control Board of the State of New York prohibit the establishment of retail dispensaries, licensing, and on-site consumption of licenses in the town of Princetown, county of the Schenectady, state of New York. I propose this, talk with Gerard about this, bring this up for discussion. This is so that we can opt out by December 31st. All of the towns, villages, and cities in the state have an opportunity to opt out so that they don't have to have stores selling cannabis and or having places where I guess you can smoke it. I mean, I never did it, so I don't know. I guess that's what it's all about. I don't think that the town should be catering to such establishments. I know that Glenville opted out. Town of Niskayuna is in the process of opting out. We have to have a public hearing at the next town board meeting, and then we have to have a vote after that if we want to opt out. And personally, I think it's a good thing. The only thing we're doing now is scheduling a town public hearing for next month. I can read the entire thing, and I will.
Just so you know, you can opt back in later, but you can't opt out after December 31st.
Correct. Yes.
You don't
Yes.
need to read all this.
You don't want me to read it?
This is just saying we're gonna have to hold a hearing.
Yes.
Gerard, in the third paragraph, it says town of Lake George. Is that supposed to say the town of Princetown?
Yep.
Sorry, I just noticed that.
We'll forgive you.
Caught me cheating.
Good, you caught that, Sandy, thank you. Okay, I'll just read it. Resolved that a public hearing should be scheduled for the consideration of this proposed local law to be held by the town board on December 14th, 2021, 7 p.m. at the town of Princetown Town Hall. Let's see here. And that the town clerk directed to post and publish notice of the said public hearing at least 5 days before the public hearing. Resolved that this resolution take effect immediately. Like I said, I think that that's a good law. I don't think we should be doing that. I don't know what the rest of the towns are doing. I don't even think they realize this, a lot of them. Until I read it in the Gazette, I forgot all about it, that Glenville had opted out and Niskayuna was opting out. It's getting kind of late in the year for people to have their town board meetings and then schedule a public hearing and vote on it next month. But fortunately, we caught it, and if the town board votes to in the affirmative, we will not have sale of cannabis in the town of Princetown. Discussion? Doug?
Never did it, so I don't know anything about it.
Nicole?
I'm fine with, opting out.
Okay. Ben, you got any comments? Okay. All right, let's see. Duly adopted. Do you want to read a roll?
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Wait a second. I'll second it. Sandy?
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Moore?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, resolution passed. Election expenses. It's hereby resolved the town board directs the Schenectady County Finance Department to levy Princetown's share of the 2019 county election expense on the county tax warrant. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Moore?
Yes.
Councilman Gray? Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Motion passed. Resolution passed. General funds claim is hereby resolved the town board approves claim number 210 through number 225 in the amount of $15,410.47. Discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Moore?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Resolution passed. Water funds claim is hereby resolved the town board approves claim number 144 through number 155 in the amount of $8,444.14. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Moore?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Resolution passed. Council member comments and discussions. Okay, one other thing, I've gotten calls on our videos not being broadcast. Ben, could you address that so people that understand what it is, why it's not getting?
Yeah, the videos, they used to be sent with a hard copy DVD that would go down to Open Stage Media. And what they're doing now is that they're taking them off of YouTube on the different channels that I cover, which is Princetown and Rotterdam. And they've been doing that pretty faithfully since COVID. When they had the shutdowns, I guess they decided to do that. Prior to that, it was kind of an issue where if we would give them a disc, they would have to kind of re-encode it. So it's probably easier for them to do it the way they're doing it now. The only problem is I'm not connected with Open Stage Media. So if they fail to put the latest video up and they're putting on a video from the previous month, the only thing you can do is call them about it. And I've done that before. I've called and I've emailed, and I never can get through to anybody. So there's been a couple of people that don't have access to computers, don't use computer technology, that depend on Open Stage Media, and have had this reoccurring every now and then where they're playing a video, they're looping the video from the previous month. So there is contact information. I don't have it on me right now, but I could put it at the end of this video. It's not gonna help though, because people are watching this on YouTube. But it's one of these things, if somebody calls the town, they could contact Open Stage Media and ask them why they're playing an outdated video.
Did everybody understand what you just said, that you can't take the disc down anymore? Like you used to deliver it
You could
down.
take it down, but even then, it was an issue. They're not on the same, I know how these places are. There's a lot of students going in here, and they're not on the ball. These people don't do what they're supposed to do, and I've done it in the past where I bring hard copies down, and then they say they didn't get it, and then they don't play it. And you know, the thing of it is, it's like I'm doing what I have to do, and I go right directly to YouTube. And unfortunately, for those that don't use computers and are relying on this system, I can't help them because I don't run that company. I don't work for them. So every time they complain, they're complaining to us, and we're not the cause of the problem. They're the problem down there. They're not doing their jobs properly. They're not abiding by their own schedules. If they're going to tell you that the meeting is on certain days, then the meeting should be for that particular month. And then when you give them a new disc, then or you give them new footage, then they should be doing that, but they don't. So it's just they're bumping heads all the time, and it's just what happens.
And we have no control over it, like he says, we have no control over this. You know,
I
this
did
is
that as a
government
courtesy
access channel, and
in the
if they
first
don't-
place.
Just what you said, if they don't take it off of YouTube, it's not gonna get shown on there. And,
If people want a copy for a DVD player, I mean, they could request a copy. I'm not gonna nickel and dime them for that. I'd give you a copy if you have somebody, but, you know, it's just you have to make them a hard copy. And you can watch it whenever they want. But you know, usually people are watching TV and they're old school. They're not gonna even bother with that. They don't even have a DVD player, so.
I'm old school.
Huh?
I'm old school. I don't even know how to turn a computer on.
You still got the rabbit ears.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
All right.
I'm glad you did that. If this meeting gets on the government channel over here, the access channel, then they'll hear it
Well,
from you directly.
that's fine.
You know, I know I get the calls on it, I'm sure other people on the board get the call occasionally.
I get a call every
Yeah,
week.
I know, so do I, it's from the same
Special
person
one.
too. And you get it too? Yeah, it's from the same person.
I remember it was
So, nothing we
going
can
back
do about it.
quite a few years.
I say, come to the meeting, then you know what happened.
That's right. You got anything, Doug? Nicole? Ben? No, I don't have anything else other than to say that we will certainly look at this over here and, you know, like I said, just send out the information to town clerk, to town attorney, and we'll address it and see. Like I said before, this was not something that the town wanted to even get into. Unfortunately, we haven't had any other solar projects coming to our town so far. There is one that was questioning the racetrack up there on, was it South Kelly?
Yeah.
They were looking at that piece of property up there, which would probably be a blessing because that's secure, there's nobody around it, and that's all we do is get complaints about the motorcycles up there running. Noise from it, so. And that one's in the middle of nowhere where it's surrounded by trees. I don't even think that'll happen. We only had an inquiry on it. Other than that, there was no other developments in town. There's really not a large parcels in our town that would be suitable for this. Unfortunately, the Brooks Farm was, I think they had 500 acres there, somewhere around there.
And the hardest thing with that is, we're all dealing with too. A lot of it, they cut trees down on adjacent property to make it more valuable for them to get more sun on their solar panels. And that's the excuse that I got from an engineer today, one of their engineers. I questioned why they had to cut that so far. And they say they flew drones over and they looked at the shadows. So they had to cut the trees down so the shadows didn't affect the solar panels.
I don't know if anybody realizes, you know, from day one, as soon as you put those solar panels in, they start, they start depreciating. They don't produce, from day one that happens, because they get a film over them, and they don't produce the energy. If you ever had solar lights, you can see that on the real cheap lights you put out. Once they start getting the film on, their production level starts dropping. By the end of 20 years, they're like less than half of what they're supposed to be producing. And that technology is already, now it's, what is it, ambient lighting or something, or solar panels or something? These are already obsolete, the ones they're putting in. So-
I live on Burns Corners Road, right across from the, right on a ravine there. And since the leaves have been off the trees, you're gonna be able to see solid silver. And we have noticed that the deer population are making different runs around now. They're not in that area. It's changing. It's
They must be
changing.
coming down on our land, because we have about, how many we
No, we
got?
got bears. We got some bears and
Oh,
some
we got
deer
bears,
and stuff, nice bucks and stuff, but
I think we had
it's,
about eight, what was the most we had, 14 out there, Sue?
17.
17 deer on our field.
I just said 16 the other night. I
17.
went on that night.
but they cut the whole portion of the forest down right across from my house, across the ravine towards Scotch Church Road. And my God, the amount of lumber they took out of there was unbelievable.
And that
I
was,
just wonder what they did with all the tailings that they couldn't ship up on your tub grinders and stuff like that. We don't know where they put the rest of the stuff. We were kind of looking to see if they dumped it in the ravine, because,
No, they wouldn't have done that.
oh, no. Who is the engineer that's gonna be going out there and checking the area out?
It'll be Doug Cole, he's our town engineer. Okay, anything else?
I'll
So,
make the
just to get
motion.
that straight, we should contact Gerard.
Yes, or you can contact me or Sandy, and we'll relay it over to Gerard. Anything else? Ben, nothing?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Doug made it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Jeffrey,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laura,
Yes.
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito.
Yes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for attending. We hope to see you next meeting, December.
When I was a kid.